please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the Secretary note that Commissioner Barnes is absent? And I have item number 4, approval of the minutes. Vice Chairman Hamilton has some comments she'd like to make.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do have some comments I'd like to make about the minutes from the March 18th meeting. I do have a copy here for staff and a copy for you, Mr. Chairman. It just states, I'm disappointed in the lack of detail in the March 18th, 2015 Planning and Zoning Commission minutes, especially in the Commission's comments regarding the Estrella Commons case. To the point, Mr. Bull inferred the only use of the land due to lack of access was single-family residence, whereas when I asked Katie Wilkin, planning manager, she indicated that there were other possible uses, whereas Mr. Bull admitted that this proposed use was the most marketable use. I do not believe the minutes reflect this, nor do they adequately express the concerns of Commissioners Kish and Maloney. The minutes also did not reflect Commissioners' concerns regarding the project in light of the recently approved 2025 Goodyear General Plan. I'm also concerned that the City Council voted on this case prior to Commission approving our minutes and thereby making any corrections and or additions a moot point. On numerous occasions, I have heard the Mayor and City Council members state that the minutes of Commission guide them when studying and evaluating cases, and that they point out areas of concern and issues that may need further scrutiny. Therefore, it's important that the minutes be of sufficient detail to be useful to the Mayor and City Council members in their deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you. We will collect that from you. Thank you, Chair, Commissioner Hamilton. We appreciate you bringing this to our attention, and if it please the entire Commission, we will work on providing more detail, especially on cases such as Estrella Commons, where there was a lot of discussion from the Commission. So we absolutely appreciate you addressing, bringing that to our attention so we can address the concerns of the Commission.
Thank you, Katie.
And so to that point, Katie, then we would then revisit the minutes next month, continue on this month, and then revisit them.
I was going to request that this be attached to next month's minutes if possible.
Yeah, if that pleases the Commission, then you could approve the minutes with the amendment as proposed by Commissioner Hamilton.
To that point, Mr. Chairman, I think Commissioner Hamilton, you would like them included in this meeting's minutes, correct? Or
No,
last meeting's?
April's.
Oh, okay.
Just attached to April's minutes.
So are you asking for edits to March's minutes?
At this point, I think it's a moot point. They've already voted on the case, so I just would like this added to the April minutes.
Okay.
To that, Commissioner, I move that we approve March 18, 2015 minutes as written.
Moved by Commissioner Bray and seconded by Commissioner Short. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, citizen comments. Now's the time for citizens who would like to address the Planning and Zoning Commission on any non-agenda item. Are there any speaker cards on any non-agenda item? Okay. Number 6, disclosure ex parte communications. Anybody have any? Okay. Item 7, old business. There's none. Item 8. All right. Item number 8. First item of business is to conduct a public hearing in order to consider rezoning to amend the Pebble Creek Phase 2 planned area development to allow an assisted living facility use at the southwest corner of Pebble Creek Parkway and Clubhouse Drive. Katie Wilkin will explain the procedure on this item.
Thank you, Chairman. As many of you have been noticed, I don't know if everybody has received the notice, the applicant has requested this item be continued until the next meeting. The applicant does have the right to do so. However, we know many of you are here to provide comment on this meeting and are going away for the summer. So what we're going to do is we are going to open the public hearing. There will not be a presentation from staff. Normally there would be a presentation from staff, but we're going to open the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to provide comment may provide comment, and that will go into our minutes, go into our record, and then we will continue the item. You are able to speak at the next meeting. If you speak tonight, you can speak when it's considered after the staff presentation and applicant presentation, because you might have different comments based on those presentations. I can assure you that the reason it's being continued is the applicant asked for more time to address comments and work on the plan and the stipulations. So we absolutely apologize. I know this was very last minute. But your comments will still be put in the record. They'll be part of the public hearing. So if you aren't able to attend the next meeting, these comments will still be part of the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, at this time I have to recuse myself from this case for a potential conflict of interest.
I'm going to, as soon as Vice Chairman Hamilton exits the room, I'm going to open the public hearing.
And before you do that, I know there's some instructions. We don't have the same timer that the City Council uses, so we'll be the speakers are limited to 3 minutes, so we'll be timing over here. And I'll raise my hand when you have 30 seconds left, and then we'll just say time when you've reached 3 minutes. So speakers will have 3 minutes.
Okay. With that, I'm going to open the public hearing. Would anyone in the audience like to speak? I have about a half dozen comment cards here, and if you haven't filled out comment cards, be sure to fill some out up front and give them to the commission secretary. The first one I have here is Richard Sitch. Yes, sir. And please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Richard Sitch, 16277 West Vale in Goodyear. My comments are about 3 items. Number one, my concern for traffic control in that area. It is the entrance to the Tuscany side of Pebble Creek, and there are 2 lanes of traffic going in there. One lane has to pass through the gate. The other lane can pass through a electronic kind of thing that automatically opens the gate for you. So I see adding any more traffic to that area could present a problem. Also, coming from people exiting Tuscany Falls, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a few golf cart users out there, and they also use the street. And so I also have a concern about the safety with respect to the golf carts, especially those exiting Tuscany Falls and going wherever they're going to go. So first item is the traffic flow is of concern. Next 2 items, the second one is the height of the structure. I heard it's 3-story. I don't know whether that's the plan or not. I have a concern about people being able to see down into the residence yards from the 3rd story. I don't think that's very proper to allow that to happen. They do expect a certain amount of privacy. They do have walls in certain areas in Pebble Creek, and so the walls do give a certain amount of privacy, but having a 3-story building, might be of some concern there. And my third item is lighting. Obviously, there's going to be parking there. There's going to be lighting in the parking lot, and so my concern is what's going to happen with respect to this lighting shining into the yards of the people that live in the surrounding areas. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Next up, I have Mr. Alvin Anderson. Please state your name and address for the record.
Alvin Anderson, 16321 West Monterey Way, Goodyear. I'm in Pebble Creek on the Tuscany side. I didn't come with anything prepared to speak on, but I am opposed to it for traffic reasons and because of being the 3 stories for privacy and lighting and so forth. And the additional traffic is going to be horrendous because it's bad in there already. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, I have Ms. Jill Santee.
Evening, my name is Jill Santee. I live at 15828 West Earl Drive in Goodyear. I have some concerns about this project. I notice on your agenda, you state that the Planning and Zoning Commission is already recommending to the City Council for approval of this project. I find that contrary to due process. I would certainly like to think that all of the meetings you've held previously to this and tonight's meeting, that you would certainly take into consideration the owners of the properties that are nearby. To speak on to that, my major objection is the fact that this is going to be a 3-story building that is not in the least compatible with any of the neighborhood of the single-family homes that surround this project. There are very few 3-story buildings in Goodyear and very few that are in the 85395 zip code where we are located. I think that the height of this, even being over 40 feet, is excessive. It definitely affects our backyard, which is adjacent to the property. We will lose any privacy in our backyard, our bedroom windows, living room windows from this facility if it's that kind of a height. To mitigate the devaluation of the property values that this type of a structure would have, I would certainly hope that this project could be modified to fit the size of the property that is available and that would be compatible with the neighborhood surroundings. The traffic flow is also a concern. The ingress going into the Tuscany side is going to be greatly affected. Egress, people go back and forth between Eagles Nest and Tuscany frequently during the day. That's going to cause more problem. The tie-up of 207 units with all of their residents, all of the people that work there, and all of the vendors. This is a significant impact on the neighborhood. The visual impact also of a 207-unit building and a 3 stories in height completely changes the entrance to the Tuscany side of Pebble Creek. It reduces the view of our beautiful lakes, waterfalls, and palm trees. We bought our home in Pebble Creek because we understood that it was the top-rated senior gated community in the greater Phoenix area. We feel that it is a wonderful golf resort. A 3-story assisted living facility is simply not consistent with the character of the neighborhood. This project, I feel strongly, needs to be downsized to mitigate the negative impact it would have. I hope you as the Planning Commission would do the right thing by limiting the impact of this oversized facility that it could have on our property values, that it could have on our privacy, and that it would have on our daily lives. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to note that we have not made any recommendations on this. That will not happen until the next month, assuming we hear it next month. And it's the recommendation that it's more of a formality that recommendation is made, but we have not taken a vote on this to date. All right, next up I have Mr. Jerry Santee.
My name is Jerry Santee, and I live with the blonde that just talked here. I don't know if I can talk fast enough to cover all these items in 3 minutes, but I'm going to give it a go. The first thing, you should have had a note on your office where it says Planning and Zoning, because we had a lot of people going over there for the meeting tonight, and they didn't know it was going to be held here. The noise, the congestion, the dirt, the dust during the 18-month of construction right there at the main entrance to Pebble Creek is going to be a real mess. We've got the fire station right there. The driveway into this Renaissance is right at the fire station. It's right where a lot of the firemen park right now. That's going to be a major traffic problem. Our view is shot. I mean, we live right at the base of the highest part of the building, the 3-story building, and all we're going to see is apartment houses and people looking down on us. Our privacy is going to be gone for sure. Like she said, I think it's going to ruin the appearance of Pebble Creek. As you come down Pebble Creek Parkway, we're used to seeing the water fountains and the trees and the beautiful entrance, and all they're going to see is this huge building from now on. We don't like the height, for instance, because they're going to be looking right down into our patio, our living room, and our bedroom. Now, they're not going to see a whole lot of action in the bedroom, but they might in the living room.
it's going to devaluate our property tremendously, because who's going to want to buy that house staring at that huge building? So I've lost every penny I made on that house. We have 3 other retirement buildings within 3 miles of Pebble Creek. This will be the 4th retirement facility within a 3 or 4 mile radius. I don't know what the city of Goodyear is trying to present itself as, but it's not a retirement community per se. It's not compatible with the neighborhood. I don't know what Mr. Robeson has on his mind. I don't think he's got us in his best interest. I just think it's a bad idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Miller.
Hi, my name's Lori Miller. I live at the 3512 North Casper Drive. So unlike some of the others here who back up right to that property, I'm across Pebble Creek Parkway, and my backyard backs up onto Pebble Creek Parkway, directly across from where this facility will be built. And seriously, it would look right down into my backyard. I feel like it's a deal breaker for anybody who would come to look and buy my house. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want it anymore either. It really would affect significantly the value of my property by tens of thousands of dollars. You know, those gorgeous sunsets that we have here in Goodyear, mine would be a building, and it literally would be gone. And I don't know of any way to mitigate that, because the wall is there, but the wall is not going to be able to, you know, take up the other 2 stories that are sitting up there. And so I can't think of any other way to mitigate that. I took off work and booked a flight down here to be at this meeting. I don't necessarily feel like it's fair that the developer can just back out at the final last hour and not be here. I find that extremely disturbing, since I made an effort with all of the advance notice that we had to come and be here and speak tonight. I am most disturbed with the height of the building, as you can imagine. So 3 stories for me is just really a deal breaker and impacts me significantly. The fact that we're moving the meeting to May, I feel, is almost a tactic by the developer to ensure that our residents are not going to be here. Many of them, my neighbors, several of my neighbors are leaving this month and going to another home. So they will not be here. And I think that doesn't, it takes away the residents' voice in this matter. So I would respectfully request that we move this to November, so that these folks can be back here and we have time to talk to neighbors. Most of our neighbors don't even know about it. We talk to people on our street and they don't even know that this is happening. Some of them get their mail at their other address, so they didn't get the postcards. Most of them didn't hear anything about it until I contacted a lot of them. And so I don't think many of the people in the development even know. And then I was told that people in right alongside the development were notified, but none of the other people in Pebble Creek were. And they might have an opinion on whether they want this big 3-story building right at the entrance to their development. So I respectfully request that we move this meeting to November so that the residents can organize and get together and present what they feel is, you know, how this development will affect their property and in what magnitude. Also, I would like to say that my neighbor does not speak English. I would like to know if we can get an interpreter to tell her how this is going to affect her property. She doesn't know. So I have a lot more to say, but okay, I guess that's my 3 minutes. I'll wait till next month.
All right, thank you.
May I respond to a few of those comments?
Yes.
I just will say I will absolutely go back to staff and find out about the interpretation. So we will absolutely look into that. That is an excellent point, that if you know somebody specifically who may need translation. So I know our court has translator services, so we'll find out if we can use them to translate some of these materials.
To that point, Mr. Chairman, and to staff, I just want to make it understood that also all of the comments tonight will also be given to the developer as to what happened as far as public comment. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, this will be part of tonight's meeting minutes, and we will share that. And we plan on meeting with the developer to discuss all the comments tonight. We're discussing them internally, discussing the concerns with the developer to find out what can be done. But I did want to at least make that point, that we will look into that translation for you.
Thank you. Bernardine Hellriegel.
Hi, I'm Bernadine Hellriegel. I live at 3102 North 157th Lane in Goodyear. I don't happen to back up to this project. However, I am a resident of Pebble Creek and think that I'm going to be directly affected by several issues. My first thought is 3-story building with the parking, delivery ramps, porticos, and all of this on such a small piece of property is going to detract from the aesthetics of Pebble Creek, and it's also going to affect the house values of everybody around it. I think that the Clubhouse Drive will be a logistical nightmare. We have the firehouse, we have the Pebble Creek exit, and the route of the carts to the tunnel all being affected by the crossover to get into the home. So that will be a very big area for accidents to happen. Then there's the incoming traffic from Pebble Creek Parkway to Clubhouse Drive. There are times during the day when the incoming visitors lane is almost backed up to Pebble Creek Parkway, and any left turn into the home would be a real problem and a backup for that traffic flow. Then there's the ongoing traffic with the problem with visitor traffic. Lights on all night. All the Pebble Creek courts and playing areas have to be dark by 10 o'clock. With these lights being on all night, it would be certainly detrimental to everybody who lives in that area. Then, of course, the immediate problem would be construction noise, dust, the construction traffic. And I think that I concur that there has not been ample time for all the residents to get a chance to voice their opinion and to move the subsequent meeting to November. Thank you.
Thank you. Donald Kerr.
Donald Kerr, I live at 3496 North Casper Drive, backed up to Pebble Creek Parkway. The proposed development for the entrance area adjacent to the entrance to Tuscany Falls is such an invasive undertaking that will do nothing to enhance the beauty of Pebble Creek. The idea that Mr. Robeson has, if he wants to get into that kind of business, is very good, and the facility looks very nice, but it is in the wrong location. The property would be much better served if it was matched to the north side of Clubhouse Drive. Driving into Tuscany Falls or Eagle's Nest, on the right side we have beauty. We have a waterfall, a lake, the golf course, the greenery. Driving into Pebble Creek, you have a golf course, a nice fairway, beauty. Left side, beauty. Drive into Tuscany Falls, the left side, you got a pre-morgue industrial complex coming in there. A nursing home for us people when we get old. Robeson still got a hold of us, and he wants to put us in there and suck the rest of the money out of us that he's already taken away from our house values. The idea, the traffic pattern is not mentioned involving the firehouse, the golf cart tunnel, the traffic in and out of Tuscany, and the traffic in and out of this new facility. Also to mention the invasion of privacy to the homes that border the property and across Pebble Creek Parkway. I sincerely hope the council takes careful consideration. Whoever is thinking about approving this has got to give it some thought, because this is our life. We put all our money into this place, our retirements, our pensions, sold houses, left kids, everything to come here. So I sincerely hope the council takes careful consideration in making their decision about this project. This will affect this area for a very long time. The ideal place for this would be to beautify this 9.11 acres, beautify it, make it matched up to the rest of our entrances, and put this abomination, three-story building down west of the RV storage area on Indian School, down there in the farmland where it belongs, where the old timers that have no memory, they can look out there and see the White Tank Mountains. Where they're at, they're going to see nothing. And we don't want it. No matter what the council, what you guys think about when you're going home, about us poor residents living here looking at a brick wall and some old guy up there like me looking out the window at you. And you say, hey, I'm coming. Save me a seat. So please recommend that it be abolished. Put it where it belongs, not in the middle of our neighborhood. This is what we have. We have a neighborhood on Eagle's Nest. We have a neighborhood on Tuscany. Pebble Creek Parkway is our pathway. He wants to put it right in the middle of our neighborhood.
Time.
Right there. I mean, that's my, please give it thought. Give it a lot of thought. Don't let politics come in here. Don't let money come in here. Use common sense. It's not a place for this type of a pre-morgue building. That's exactly what we're going into. We don't want it. The traffic, I concur with everything people said. The garbage trucks coming in, the electric coming in.
It's time.
The food deliveries coming in. Flat. If I'm out of time, please, God bless you, and think about us.
Thank you, sir. That's the last of the comment cards that I have. Is there anyone else who would like to speak that hasn't yet? If so, fill out a card.
I'd like to ask for a point of information, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Jeffrey Fisher. I fired off comments to City Council, to the Zoning Commission, and I don't know how many of you got it or not, but
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. My name is Jeff Fisher. I'm a resident of Pebble Creek. My address is 4084 North 155th. I'm on Eagle's Nest. All right, I have really major concerns about this project being, one, too small, okay, for the property. Because if you look at anything that Robeson said about their Renaissance projects, they have all doubled in size within 5 to 10 to 15 years. So what are we going to do with 500 residents on 9 acres when Sun Lakes and all the other properties are on bigger pieces of land, okay, and they have 500 plus residents? All right, we have the land. Robeson seems to not want to use it, but we have the land within Pebble Creek. I'm concerned about the security and the design of the roads. The drive around the backs and everything else, and the lighting and everything else that come into this, because it's going to impact the security and bring people into a gated community, all right, that probably shouldn't be there. All the other issues that have been here. But I'm more concerned with the fact that the applicant, as you want to call him, has called off a meeting with no transparency and no disclosure to anybody as to why they're postponing and what the key reasons are. And we've been given 2 conflicting dates now of May 18 and May 20 for any follow-up. So that
Please
I really
speak
would
into
like
the
clarified
microphones.
from the board.
Please speak into the microphone, sir. We want to make sure we're getting all your comments.
All right,
Sorry to interrupt. That won't count towards your
sorry.
time.
Okay, but that
Yeah.
is really part of it. How does this board, you give us 2 dates, one May 18 and one May 20. No times, nothing else. So we need that information if we're going to protect the quality of our lives and our investment in this community and help bring buildings and investment to Goodyear.
And Thank you, sir. I think the next available opportunity for this to be heard will be at the, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but the third Wednesday in May, and at 6
That
o'clock.
is a May 20 date,
Whatever the third Wednesday is.
because there is a May 18 date being circulated.
Thank you. I would be happy to provide more clarification, and I appreciate that when we sent out the notice, we weren't clear. The item has to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission before it goes to City Council. So it cannot go to City Council until the Planning and Zoning Commission has heard it and considered it and then comes up with a recommendation. So the City Council meeting is canceled. It will not go to City Council until after it goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that May 18th date, that's not going to happen. We'll make sure we get some more information on that, clarifying that to all the other people who aren't here tonight. So I apologize for that. So right now, the recommendation is to continue it to the May 20th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We don't have a specific City Council date in mind. We will have to notice again for the City Council meeting. And I'm sorry to start getting technical, but if we notice to a specific date, we preserve the notice for the Planning Commission, but we won't be preserving the notice for the City Council. So we'll have to send out mailers, update the property posting, and republish in the paper with the new City Council date. Yes. And so.
Is there a chance that we could postpone till November? And if so, how could we be notified? Is that a possibility? I feel like nobody's been notified. I bet everybody in this room would tell you that their neighbors don't know about this.
Thank you. And because of some of the clarification, I'll answer the question. We want to make sure, though, that we use the proper procedure. But there are two options. The commission could recommend directly sending it to the November meeting, or the commission can recommend it go to May, and we can have these discussions. Even if they recommend it go to May, we can still go back, discuss with Robeson, discuss internally if maybe it should go in November. We appreciate that suggestion. So we can go back and discuss that, and that maybe that is the right decision. I can assure you that the notice procedures followed the City of Goodyear procedures, which exceed what's required by state law. We're required. We send out notice to the people within 500 feet of the subject property. So people within 500 feet actually got a mailer, but then the property was also posted, so anyone driving by would be able to see the posting and know about it, and then it was also in the paper.
That 500 feet doesn't cut it because
Please,
everybody building
sir.
property is-
Yeah.
Sir, if you're going to address, I don't want back and forth. I prefer you come up to the podium. And so I don't know if you're done, Katie.
Yeah, that I just wanted to provide that clarification. I would suggest if there are concerns with the city's notification procedures, that's almost a separate discussion. I mean, that's the direction we've been given, that staff has been given by the zoning ordinance to follow. So that's what we do. So I would recommend coming before the commission or city council during the time when you can discuss non-agenda items, or sending an email directly suggesting that you don't agree with our notification procedures and you would, request that those be reviewed.
Can you address?
I guess I'm kind of concerned that I heard that the staff in planning make a recommendation before we all have a chance to speak at the meeting. Is that the way that occurs?
Thank you. Yes. And the staff does make recommendations based on what we hear at the citizen review meeting, the application materials provided. We make a recommendation based on if it conforms to the zoning ordinance and the general plan. And we suggest a recommendation, and then based on the public input, the Planning and Zoning Commission can accept our recommendation and add additional stipulations, or can go against our recommendation.
Can I say one more?
Mr. Chairman, to that point, I want to make it absolutely clear that even though that might have been in writing, that is looking at what our zoning ordinances say. And we did also receive everybody's protest letters and support letters at the same time. So even though basically what they're saying is the recommendation is okay to move forward, they still send everything else with it and have informed us to what happened at those public meetings. So we're not just getting staff's information.
I guess what I'm concerned about is a lot of people thought that this was their venue to voice their disapproval of the project, that the last meeting was just for Robeson to kind of present it to people and then they could say what they wanted to, but this is where they really got to tell the planning commission about their disapproval, and now there's this confusion over the date and the time, and that with that confusion, and then I really kind of have a problem with the staff making a recommendation before they even hear the citizens. So we had over 200 people at that last meeting who primarily were there stating their disapproval, and that's not being listened to and heard.
And to that point,
Real quick, to that point, staff does make recommendations based on the technical merits of the case. They could recommend approval, and we can vote 7-0 not to approve it. That's not our recommendation. Then our recommendation is then given to the city council, whether or not we agree with staff recommendations or we disagree with them. City council then receives that input. And so this is your opportunity. This is the public hearing to get your concern on the record and let everybody know, where you're coming from on the project. No decisions have been made as far as the approval of this project from City Council or Planning and Zoning Commission standpoint.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys will take into consideration that I would like the residents to have a voice, and that's why I'm suggesting November.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Just one other point of order. Can you give us a clarification whether or not there were enough residents responding where we reached you having to have a super majority rather than a simple majority for this project? It's my understanding that if 20% or more of the residents who are immediately impacted disapprove or file letters, can you tell us whether that stipulation has been met yet? That's my first question.
Thank you. We haven't done the exact calculations. It appears that the supermajority has been triggered. We are going to sit down and do this precise calculation because it's based on acreage, not number of property owners. So we're going to sit down and do that tomorrow, and we'd be happy to get that information out to everybody.
Okay, the second question I had, can the applicant cancel on the day of the hearing? Can this happen again as it happened today? Because we all just got notice today that the applicant was withdrawing the proposal from your agenda. Can this happen again in May or November or whenever? Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant can at any time request a continuance. I do think that at some point, if they kept doing it again and again, that the Planning Commission, that staff may recommend, and the Planning and Zoning Commission may wish to not allow continuances and then may suggest that the project be withdrawn or continued indefinitely or restarted in some way. But they are allowed to ask for a continuance. That is permitted. And I guess just one other, you asked about the supermajority, and I would offer a reminder if anybody wishes to submit comments in writing. I'll go ahead and put my cards out on the table. So I know many of you have submitted comments in writing, but we will be accepting comments up until the day of the city council meeting. So if any of you talk to neighbors, you can still be submitting comments to us in writing, and we have to receive comments in writing for the calculation on the supermajority trigger. Thank you.
All right.
one more question.
Okay.
Does the planning commission ever come out to the property and say, like, stand in our backyard and see what it really would be like?
I can't speak for. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Katie, I don't know if you had it's up to us to determine whether or not we want to go out there and
Yes,
drive by the
it's-
properties, and we're all residents. We drive by these all the time. You know, we're not going to go in someone's backyard uninvited to see. You know. So,
Yeah, and when there are property visits, we do have to be careful with open meeting law about a quorum being established at an off-site meeting. But yeah, if there's further questions about the meeting and postponement, I'd be happy to answer those. But I do want to remind everyone, we are still in public hearing, so we are, we need to stay on track of the public hearing comments.
yeah, and I was going to note that I don't want to get too far carried away because we are within the boundaries of talking about the merits of the case, and some of this is starting to float on the edge of being another agenda item that we need to talk about separately. So, is there anything else on this case? Did you have it to that point, Mr. Bray, or you mentioned something earlier?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I just would like to say, first of all, thank you to all the residents that did come out. I sincerely appreciate you taking your time, obviously coming from long distances, and we understand that you are invested in the community, and we have heard your concerns. I've got them listed very clearly about the height of the building, traffic, and views and all of that. And I can assure you that staff does a very good job, and they are very diligent with their job, and that your comments will reach back to the developer and be heard, and you will have a second bite at the apple, which there actually isn't very many opportunities of that to happen. And I think that the reason that the developer most likely pulled it is because he heard your voices the first time. So we'll continue to work at it, and I can assure you that we will think long and hard about this project moving forward. But I appreciate you all coming out.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to keep the public meeting open just for the purposes of continuation, and then I will take a motion to continue the public hearing to the May 2015 date, unless there's another motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bray. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Short. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick 5-minute recess so we can get.
Yeah, I would ask Katie. It's changed over the years. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, it's not.
Thank you for your words, and we'll take all the words into
we're gonna have to change our due process. Change our due process and send an employee out.
I think not getting caught up in the emotion of.
All right. You guys ready? All right. I'm going to reconvene the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We're on agenda item 8.2, I believe. To consider preliminary plat for Paseo Place Parcel 1, subdividing approximately 40 acres into 136 single-family lots located at the northwest corner of Yuma Road and 183rd Avenue. Mr. Floden will present.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner and Commission members. I will be presenting both Parcel 1 and Parcel 2, which... Is that better? All right. Good evening. I will be presenting both Parcel 1 and Parcel 2 for Paseo Place this evening. The request is for approval of a preliminary plat for Paseo Place Parcel 1 and 2. The preliminary plat for Parcel 1 consists of 39.4 acres and will be subdivided into 136 single-family lots with 13 open space tracts. The preliminary plat for Parcel 2 consists of 77.64 acres and will be subdivided into 214 single-family residences and 26 open tracts. The proposed Paseo Place preliminary plat is consistent with the requirements for the city's subdivision regulations and design guidelines. The proposed density is consistent with the city's general plan, and the proposed development is compatible with the surrounding area. Prior to subdividing a property, the owner must submit a preliminary plat that demonstrates compliance with the public objectives and the design principles. The preliminary plat must be accompanied with information demonstrating the adequacy for utilities, open space, and other public facilities. The general plan land use map designates the subject property as neighborhood. The development standards for neighborhoods allow for low-density residential, single-family detached and attached residential uses, and with densities up to 5 dwelling units. The 2025 general plan encourages neighborhood development that supports the city's desired community character and vision by providing trails, open space, and internal and external connectivity. Parcel 1 consists of 136 residential lots. Parcel 2 consists of 214. The existing land uses around the subject property: to the south is Las Ventanas, a residential development. To the east is La Privada, which is also a residential development. To the north is also La Privada, which has a density of 3.1 units per acre. And then to the west is undeveloped Maricopa County land zoned R34, which is for single-family residences up to 2 acres. That's parcel 2 there to the south. So there are 2 main entrances to Paseo Place. Parcel 1, access will be from the eastern portion of the site via 183rd Avenue, while another access point is from the south off of Yuma Road. Paseo Place Parcel 2 has 2 access points as well. Both will be off of 183rd Avenue. All roadways within the development will be built to the public road standards and dedicated to the city of Goodyear. A portion of the right-of-way along Yuma Road, or Yuma Avenue, will be set aside for the Maricopa Planned Regional Trail, and the eastern and southern edges of Parcel 2 will be, you can see a path that's also dedicated for residence use. There are 2 proposed typical lot sizes. The smaller lot sizes are 60 by 120. The larger size will be 70 by 120. Offering two different lot sizes will allow development with a wider range of house floor plans. This chart shows the breakdown of the lots and the square footage and the area sizes of those lots. The entry monument for the community will be located on the southeast corner of Yuma and 183rd Avenue and will be located in Parcel 2. So Parcel 1 consists of approximately 21% open space. The applicant is proposing unique concepts for the open space that are provided in Parcel 1. The first of which will be a community garden space with Ramada. The concept of community gardens have been developed in cities around the country and promote a sense of ownership within the community. The second concept is a butterfly garden. And the butterfly garden will consist of small herb garden, benches, a plaza, and trails that promote human interaction. Plantings will be provided to attract butterflies with flat boulders for sunning and desert grasses to provide shade, creating a unique natural habitat and a living landscape. Another feature of the butterfly garden will be information that can be provided on butterflies, provide an educational experience for the residents. As stated before, Parcel 2, this will be where the entry monument is located. There's approximately 27% open space provided here. And within, as stated before, before the entry monument and located within this parcel as well as local park, providing Ramada, picnic tables, barbecues, and a multi-station playground. The southern portion of Parcel 2 will contain a sport court, another playground, and some additional benches, and a large kind of grass plaza there that you can see. We did notify the Phoenix Goodyear Airport and Luke Air Force Base, and given the location of and the nature of the proposed use, neither airport nor the base's operations would be adversely affected. This is a preliminary plat, so no citizen review or citizen hearing was required. So in closing, staff recommends approval of the request for a preliminary plat with stipulations. The development of the parcel should be in conformance with the preliminary plat dated February 25th, 2015. That concludes my presentation for this evening. I'm available for questions, and the applicant is also here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
I have a question in regards to the butterfly garden and such a unique feature to a parcel of land. I have not seen anything like that in the area. I didn't know if there would be any environmental issues in regards to water usage, those type of things, because I don't know if those plants are that will be restrictive to water usage or anything like that.
I would pose that question to the applicant on what type of plants they would propose in that. I would assume it would be a xeriscape plantings.
They are required to use the ADWR planting list.
We don't have our landscape architect.
Please come on up.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm Dawn Fortune. I'm with Rick Engineering. The landscape architect is not here with us tonight, but they will comply with plant palettes as dictated by city code. I think that the Hadley Group has used this successfully in other places, and I think it's a nice feature to kind of add to the area. I think they're trying to do some unique concepts as part of this to make it more appealing to residents and to be a benefit to the city of Goodyear.
Absolutely. I was just speaking to the sustainability, if it was going to last because of the upkeep and those type of things. It would be awesome to keep it, and that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for staff or the applicant? All right. I'm going to open it up for discussion. Any discussion? Okay. With that, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
What's that? Oh, okay. All in favor of the? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number 14-500-0006.
Motion by Commissioner Bray,
Second.
second by Vice Chairman Hamilton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Then item 8.3, consider preliminary plat for Paseo Place Parcel 2, subdividing approximately 78 acres into 214 single-family lots, generally located at the southeast corner of Yuma Road and 183rd Avenue alignment. We already heard the presentation, so unless there's any further questions or any clarifications that the applicant would like to make or any public comment cards. With that, I will take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of case number 14-500-00007.
Second.
Moved by Vice Chairman Hamilton and seconded by Commissioner Bray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.3, public hearing to consider special use permit for the Antero Montessori School located at Van Buren Street and Saraville Avenue. I'm going to open the public hearing, and Alex Latinsky will present.
Thank you, Chairman, Commission. My name is Alex Ostinsky. I'm the new Planner 1 in the Development Services Department. This is an application for a special use permit from Larson Associates with Antero Montessori School to locate a school at the northwest corner of Van Buren and Saraville in the Canyon Trails Planned Area Development. The subject property is currently being used for agriculture and is Zone C2 in the PAD. To both the north and south of the property are single-family residences in the Canyon Trails. To the west are the Encantada apartments at Canyon Trails, and to the east is the Harvest Baptist Church of Goodyear. The school will be located on the northwest corner of the subject property, and the balance of the property will eventually be developed as commercial development. Antero Montessori School will house up to 200 students aged 8 weeks old to the 6th grade. And as you can see on the map provided, there's going to be 2 access points to the school, one from Van Buren and one from Saraville. This eliminates any excess traffic in local neighborhoods. And there will be a wall on the north and west of the property, splitting the school from the neighborhood to prevent any pedestrian access as well. The sports field that's located behind the school will be lit for events. There is a stipulation to make sure the lights are shielded to prevent light intrusion on the neighborhoods. And as the narrative has noted, events will typically wrap up around 8 p.m. I've also included some colored elevations in my presentation. The citizen review meeting was held on March 17th, and there were no residents in attendance at this meeting. All public hearing notices have been satisfied, and there have been no comments received to this point. As I said before, the parcel is zoned C2 in the PAD. It conforms with general plan standards, and staff recommends approval, subject to stipulations noted in the provided documents. This concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions you have. And I have the applicant here as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. I found this interesting, and I like this concept. When we heard the Avila Apartments case, it seemed to be quite a few residents that had concerns about the amount of traffic that schools generate, dropping off and picking up students. And so I noted in here that the school requires parents to park and walk their children in, which eliminates this backup of traffic in the general area, because that is a busy intersection here.
Definitely.
So I was very pleased to see that in the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any questions for the applicant?
Mr. Chairman, actually for staff, and I didn't see it, but is there plans by the city or anybody to make improvements on Saraville as this is being developed to that particular road?
Cerebel's actually part of the CIP project. I know that's being worked on currently, or it's in the works. So in the next year, so it should be improved with that with the CIP project.
So we won't have the school. It'll come together kind of at the same time then, most likely. The school and Saraville.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioner Bray. Yes, it's planned in next year's CIP, so the funding won't be till July 1st. So because this project is moving forward, our engineering department is trying to coordinate with the applicant so that work being done will all take place at one time, and the applicant won't be putting in infrastructure and then we'll be tearing it out a little bit later. But that CIP has not yet been approved by council. We expect it to be approved, but we do want the caveat that council still has to approve the CIP for next fiscal year, but we anticipate that that'll be approved and Saraville will be improved.
To that point, Mr. Chairman, I think I would like the minutes to reflect that is a important project, especially for that particular corner as they move forward. I think for the school as the traffic increases, and for the safety, because Saraville is, I think, a little bit overloaded at the moment. And having additional traffic, I think it'll only help the school and the citizens there off of Saraville.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Anyone from the public wish to speak? Okay. Close the public hearing and can I have a motion in a second.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of case number 153500001.
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Chairman Hamilton and seconded by Commissioner Kish. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Staff communications.
Thank you, Chairman. You might notice we expected the meeting tonight to be a bit longer, so we pushed off that discussion about having possibly two commission meetings to a later date because we thought this was going to be a much longer meeting, so we didn't want to overload the agenda. So that will be coming forward. The other thing I wanted to announce, if we haven't already, is that we do have a new Development Services Department Director. His name is Christopher Baker. He comes to us directly from Alabama, where he's been working in the private sector, but he has years of experience in the public sector. He starts on April 20th, so we hope he will be able to be at the May meeting and be able to meet you all personally and see how we do business. And that's all I have.
Anything else? All right, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks. Well, what were you